Hey everyone, it's Exjunkie transmitting from Hamburg, Germany, back with another video, and well, back with another sequel of a series. It started like, I don't know, last year, someone inspired by someone of the vinyl community who started a thread in terms of like, 10 bands, 10 records of bands or projects I've seen live on stage, and I thought back in the day I could hop on this train and like make another video like regarding this topic, but the things got kind of out of hand because I kind of realized I got way too many records by bands and projects I've seen live, so I couldn't like squash them into one video. So what I did is like I started a series, and I wanted to do this monthly, but somehow life happened and stuff, so there were like pauses and like, I don't know, like periods of silence where I couldn't get onto this topic, like that went on for a month. But now I'm back with one. And I'm starting with a record which had like kind of a pop success as well, not really in Germany, but in the UK as for sure. Dizzee Rascal's latest album, which was signed by a major label in Germany, by Universal Music Group. And this came out in 2009. The album is called Tongue in Cheek. And well, this was a phase, like a really weird phase for grime, when tunes like Bonkers, which is also on this album, had like big mainstream success, because grime like kind of left the streets and like crossed over into like EDM, electro house territories, and therefore like saw some like major club success and stuff. And this was released on like Dizzee Rascal's label Dirty Stank originally, but like in Germany it was signed to Universal, which was a kind of major label, or is still. Maybe you see all these claims on YouTube, claimed by Universal Music Group. This is exactly what this is about. And yeah, as it says here, Dirty Stank is a label, and the sound is EDM electro house meets grime. And I saw Dizzee Rascal live in Hamburg at the Übel und Gefährlich, which is a concert venue, club venue, that is located in a big overground bunker from World War II that has been like refurbished and now hosts like a club, several clubs actually, like a radio station, a big shop for like music instruments and stuff, and also like a kind of theater group thing, a radio station, and many other places. So yeah, I saw him live there. This is actually a place I don't like to go when it comes to concerts, and well, I don't go out to parties anymore, so fuck that. But this is the PA is very strange. So when you like in front of the stage for the first like 3 to 4 to 5 meters, everything sounded good back in the day, and then after that it was like just quiet, because that room is, or that venue is humongous and very high ceilings and stuff. And yeah, somehow the sound gets lost in there easily, so I didn't really enjoy the sound, but it was good to see Dizzee Rascal, a grime act, on stage in Hamburg big time. But this is like 11 years ago. So, and I was invited there by the promotion agency kind of. So yeah, I went to a free show and like saw things live on stage. And he had like New Generals as a like group who played before the warm up and stuff. Was also nice. Was more like rough grime, but back in those days, like the German audience couldn't like really relate to that rough stuff, so crowd reactions were okay. But for Dizzee Rascal, people went bonkers, kind of. And yeah, first album on show. Next one is also bass music, and Skull Disco Volume 3 by Shackleton. Legendary tracks on here: Blood on My Hands, Naked, and Hypno Angel. And yeah, this is like very early bass music. I coined the term like myth step, or like a ritual grime for this back in the days. And yeah, Shackleton is still a like very unique artist. Fuses like bass music with a lot of like tribal rhythms and the tribal aspect you might get from the artwork as well. Very mystical, very mythical, and one of those artists who grabbed my attention from very early. He had my reviews actually featured on his website as well, and yeah, sent me promos back in the days. It was like, I don't know, 2006 or something like that. I don't know if there's a like release date on there. No, it's not, but whatever. And I saw him live for the first time when I brought him over to Hamburg, actually, with my friend Andre, who's like living and working in the Westwerk, which is a like venue in Hamburg. And we booked him for a party that was called Dubstep Nord. It's like dubstep in the north, because Hamburg is in the north of Germany. And yeah, I brought him over and I played with him, and he played a great show. It was small. The venue is small, so it was like about 100 people there, but it was like very enjoyable and stuff. And he turned out to be a very, very nice guy. Even like brought me one of his like big hoodies, like the Skull Disco merchandise hoodies that are very rare right now. He brought me one of those, and even before they were like distributed in Hamburg. And what is interesting, that guy doesn't fly, so he came from the UK via train. I picked him up. A very nice guy. We met each other like a few times when he was playing in Hamburg on several other occasions. I haven't seen him in a while actually, but I guess our path will cross again. So Shackleton, Ritual Grime, Dubstep, live act, producer, not a DJ actually, so this was like real life in Skull Disco. The label has been defunct. He has like launched his own label, Vote to the Septic Heart. Has also released on Perlon and other labels, so still active. More bass music for the next one. Rowdeep, The Avenue, Thinking of You When I'm Here. Triple like single, 12-inch single, released on Relentless, which was a garage label back in the day. And yeah, Rowdeep is another like grime posse, grime crew that was like had like very, very many interesting and now famous members like Wiley and Trim and Scratch and some other people. And I saw Rowdeep live in Darmstadt, which is like halfway down, like on the way to Munich, kind of like in that area. So like pretty much in the middle, or like if you go down from the north, like I don't know, 3/4 down Germany towards Austria. So and I saw them live in Darmstadt. I don't know, I don't remember the venue, but I remember that I was living with like Donna Maya and her like boyfriend back in the day. We ran this label together, Rudel Records, and we were on the phone all the time. And yeah, what happened was that I saw that they're gonna play live, and I'm a big grime fan, Maya as well, and Kazu as well, her boyfriend, and we decided to give it a shot and like hop in the car and roll down, visit a friend of ours, not friend of mine actually, and yeah, visit people, and then like hit that location and like see Rowdeep live, because this was, I don't know, 2005, 2006 maybe. They were like grime shows in Germany were rare, so this was like they had like 8 or 9 or 10 MCs on stage, and was a big was a big party kind of. I don't know, 200 or 300 people there, and this was actually a good experience and one of my first grime shows actually. So Rowdeep, another act I saw live, and Relentless is still active as a label. And when it comes to grime, another act I saw live back in Hamburg at the former Mojo Club, or Mandarin Casino as it was called back in the days, is this guy. Jammer Merkelman is the single, one of the most prominent members of the grime family, kind of one of the most prominent acts still. Has been doing like also DVD releases and all this like street documentary videos. And yeah, Merkelman was his like biggest single. And yeah, this was a strange show because there is a whole big story on there, which I'm not about to tell on video, because there was a lot of criminal activity involved, and the promoter didn't pay the guys, and the police was involved kind of. And yeah, I was like not involved like in all that stuff, but I was kind of held hostage as a translator, because those guys like weren't paid. And actually I kind of managed to sort things out a little bit for them and sent them to the record store like a day after to sell a few of their promo records and stuff, because they needed money to go to Berlin for the next show. But that promoter, yeah, he booked them. He paid like, I don't know, a crew of like 8 or 9 people, all related to Jammer, like the whole slew them crew actually and booked them and just paid for one flight, and those were guys who never had left London actually a lot of times, or never had left England, and some of them were very young, never had left their hood actually, so these were like proper hood guys, and he only paid one flight, thought he would be the big grand promoter in Germany, failed massively, couldn't come up with the money for the show, couldn't come up with the money for the flights and stuff, and yeah, basically disappeared from Hamburg after that show. So yeah, this is like a rough outlet of what happened there. All the other stuff, what happened in the backstage, what happened in the hotel, because I won't tell. I won't tell like on camera. I will maybe to some of you if we meet ever. But yeah, Gemma Merkelman, good show, but massive failure, and yeah, intense. One of the most dangerous situations I've been to in my life, and I've been to like a few, I guess. Totally different genre right now. Wyoming is the band. The album is Fountain. This is, as you can tell, not that streetwise and not that rough musically, but this is more like, I don't know, indie kind of, very inward looking, a kind of shoegaze thing, and I saw them live at a place that was called Haus 73, a venue that in this form doesn't exist anymore in Hamburg. Well, it still does, but the owners have changed and the music policy has changed and stuff. And yeah, this is a band I wouldn't have discovered actually, but it was as it was released on ADP Records from Kulmbach, which is also down south in Germany, and the label was run by Tess Rochholz, which is a friend of mine. So she was like, well, we got this band and we're coming to Hamburg and we're coming to Hamburg to play and stuff, and I'm gonna be with them. So I was like, oh, well, I like Tess. I hadn't seen her in a while, so I like went to this venue. I was invited to see the show, and this label also has like a somehow well, all the bands who are signed to this label are great, or a lot of were signed because Tess isn't running the label anymore, but they had a hard time like getting a hold of the Hamburg audience for some reason. I don't know why, but because maybe they were very local down in Bavaria or whatever. So all the shows those bands did in Hamburg weren't attended that well, but still it was like nice. The guys were nice and stuff. I got this album. I met Tess, had a few drinks, and yeah, Wyoming Fountain is a thing. Still a good album. I need to listen to this at some point again, but recommend it. Back to bass music. Kind of a cheat record because I've shown one album or like one single by this artist in another video, but by another project. So this isn't actually cheating, not cheating maybe, but The Bug, Jawar, Kev Martin, prolific bass artist, actually best known as The Bug for his album London Zoo. This was like before this, released on Ninja Tune back in 2007. In a time when grime wasn't that popular still, and this is a mixture of like dub and grime and like bass music and stuff, and I played this to death, so this single is pretty battered. And a few years after, when he released his album Angels and Devils, I was invited by the promo agency to see the show at the Hafenklang in Hamburg. So I did, and was I don't know which MC was there, I didn't remember, I guess Floden maybe as well. So very heavy, dub-infused, brutal, noisy bass music. That guy always requires to have like some extra stacks of speakers and in the PA because he wants to be his bass music very physical and very intense. So and this was like a great experience. Really enjoyed the show. I'm like very occasionally in touch with him on Twitter. So there is some back and forth every like 2 years or something, so yeah, like a very brief exchange sometimes. And yeah, I've shown another of his records as Techno Animal, so back in another video, I don't know which one, but I might link some random video of this series in the end card as well. So this is a kind of cheat, but The Bug is another project, is more of his bass music, speed hall thing, and he also has done stuff as Razor X Productions, but I've never seen them live, so this doesn't count. And I don't know if Razor X did ever like live shows, but whatever. Next one is a special one because this record also features the very first remix I've done with my mate or former mate Homebase when we were like doing our project Intrauterin Alliance. This was like, I don't know, more than 15 years ago. And the main act is Notstandskomitee, which is Malte Steiner, originally from Hamburg, and he's now moved to Berlin. And there are 4 remixes of his music on there. One of them, I don't know if you can see this here, was crafted by Intrauterin Alliance, aka Baze.djunkiii and Homebase. And what Notstandskomitee was doing back in the days was like a very digital, kind of industrial leaning version of electronica. Very kind of like polyrhythmics, very dry. Yeah, still is doing stuff now more with the bass music twist, but still influenced by like digital electronica, sound processing, Max MSP, all that kind of stuff, if you get the idea. Yeah, and we were like asked to do our remix for Notstandskomitee back in those days. And the original plan was to do like a drum and bass remix, but what happened was he gave us just the vinyl version of the LP as a like sound source. So we had to sample single notes and tones from that entire LP, and we soon realized that it wasn't possible to do a drum and bass remix. So we stayed with the drum and bass tempo, but did a very I don't know, jumpy, very feathery, trippy remix in an electronica style. I wouldn't say Autechre, but I say Autechre because this might lead you into a direction, but with a kind of offbeat reggae-ish twist, and yeah, the whole thing is running on like 45 RPM, and it's interesting, and we did things that I haven't heard in another record ever since, and this was released back in 2002. So, and I've seen Notstandskomitee, of course, live at the Hörbar in Hamburg, which was kind of his home base, musically a place where a lot of experimental musicians like played and stuff and met, and yeah, also people like Asmus Tietjens used to hang out there and stuff. So this is like a project I've seen live and I've remixed, so I was involved in both. And the next one, we're staying with the noise genre. This also has a story to it. Mai by Olaf Rupp, released on the label Sieben, and I've seen Olaf Rupp playing live at the Fundbüro in Hamburg, which is a location that is still like active and running. And he did a kind of like noise, like pure harsh noise concert, which is this as well. This is like noise, digital noise and stuff. And I was there with my friend St. Martin, with whom I've done the radio show Die Nachtschwestern, which I mentioned back a few times on this channel, I guess. And we were like sitting very, very in the front row, kind of, and the speaker was like 2 meters away from us, and we were sitting like 1.5 meters, maybe 1 meter distance from each other, and the concert started very, very, very like quiet, and then went up to a like huge crescendo, and in the end it was like we were like screaming at each other from 1 meter distance, and we couldn't hear each other because like the white noise canceled all this stuff out. Pretty intense. But what happened the day after, I went to a techno party in a bunker, like an illegal bunker location, and whenever a bass drum hit my eardrum, I felt pain, like with a hot needle, it like being stuck into my ear and stuff. And I kind of reckoned that I damaged my eardrum within this like noise concert, because I was sitting pretty close to the speakers as well. And I don't know, it was that was like maybe torn up, not really torn apart, but like kind of torn. And my hearing is good again, so this was like 20 years ago, but yeah, I kind of damaged my eardrums for the first time, or for the only time, in a concert, and this was a live concert by Olaf Rupp. Intense record, Sieben, if you find this, and if you like noise, yeah. And I've seen him live as well, so story told. Also sticking with the noise genre and also back to the Hörbar, which is a Hamburg-based club I mentioned a minute ago, is this album by Audible Pain, which definitely is a nice segue from the story I told like a second ago. On the Reduktive Musiken imprint, which is run by Audible Pain, and the album is called Mehrzeitiger Hirnstamminfarkt. And that guy I've seen playing live at the Astra-Stube, and the concept of this album is, or the story behind this album is that this guy had a kind of like tumor, stroke in his brain. I don't know what the exact medical term is. So he had like a brain injury, brain damage thing. And he kind of like did to come over this, he started to produce noise music and rhythmic noise music based on tape feedbacks, and he stuck in his live performances, which were very intense, just him like a battery of strobes in his back, which were firing at rapid fire, and he did like, he had, I don't know, a stack of like 5 or 8 tape decks on top of each other, and he was feeding them into each other to produce kind of like, yeah, noise feedbacks and stuff, and hit the pause button and stuff all the time, and the level of the tape decks and stuff, and to produce a kind of like analog live feedback noise. And this is basically the sound of this album in a very rhythmic way. So and all these all the track titles on this album refer to symptoms or like parts of the aftermath of this album. So yeah, this is a thing I've seen live as well, like in a concert that was like attended by, I don't know, 20 people, 30 people maybe, but yeah, stuff I've seen live, and stuff many of you might not know. And finally, totally different direction, maybe recommended to Paul, Exjunkie Excell, NL. This is jazz actually. So Sönke Düver is the guy behind this. Ensemble d'Hiver is the project. A guy I've gotten to know when I was still involved in the Mojo Club thing as a DJ, and he played a show for this album in a record store at Michel Records in Hamburg, where he invited me to, and I went there and saw this album live. It's very kind of deep electronic jazz music, kind of not the standard setup with like saxophones and stuff, but what they do live is they have a singer, and Sönke has cut dub plates of backing tracks, and he plays with a synth and stuff on top of these backing tracks, and singers attend and stuff. So this is a kind of unique concept for like jazz music and stuff, and this was released on Batterie Records, I don't know, last year or a year before that. So yeah, also a a live show I've seen, a record by an artist I've seen live. So this was another 10, maybe another 10 is like to come in the future. So, but I wanted to get this video out. If you like this one, you know the score, like, subscribe, buy records from like Bandcamp, yeah, comment, share this video, subscribe for sure, support me on Patreon or whatever, and let me know. And if you see this video today, which is July 19th, 2K20, make sure to log on to Cutter's Choice Radio tonight at 2000 London time, because I'm going to play a techno show there. So this will be my a mix of mine will be broadcasted via Cutter's Choice Radio, and this will be my like first step into the UK online radio, pirate radio, whatever, isolation radio realm. So the motherland, the heartland of dance music radio. This will be my debut. Maybe I'm going to do things more in the UK as well, from in terms of like having mixes broadcasted and to get my sound out there. But we will see. We'll tell you about this in the next video. So I'm going to see you in the next one. See you later.